So I'm going to do a quick video on how I make electrolyte drinks using a variation of the World Health Organization formula for getting sodium and potassium into your system, plus a few other little extras that I take that you may be interested in. But the sodium and potassium, and I'll also explain very quickly, as well as zinc and magnesium, will have a huge effect, or could have, let's put it that way, depending on your own diet and health and what it is that you need. But the zinc and magnesium, for instance, if you're a man especially getting on in your age like me, this can have a profound effect or influence, like it did for me, on the quality of my sleep. It was extraordinary how this helped me. It was one of my personal trainers, shout out to Jamie in Glasgow, who put me onto this, and it was literally the first night I took them. I slept like a baby, had the most amazing dreams, and remembered them, which I hadn't done really up until then, and I've never looked back since. If I ever have problems with my sleep, it's normally because I've stopped taking the zinc and magnesium. I take them again and I have amazing sleep. So I hope you enjoy this video. It's a cheap way of making salt and potassium electrolytes, which if you're buying the sachets, for instance, in the UK, they cost like between £2 and £3 for, I think, 12 sachets, maybe not even 12. So it's quite expensive, especially when you take two. And I take this drink twice a day. So that's the equivalent of 2 sachets a day. But that's just because of my diet and my lifestyle. And I find that they reduce cramp, get rid of cramp like within 10-20 minutes if I ever have cramps in any form. Normally it's in my calves and feet, but it also greatly reduces, and I found by 95%, my benign fasciculation syndrome. So instead of having my calves and feet sort of flickering like this, they just sort of do this tiny little bit of twitching that I really hardly even notice at all, in comparison to, like, if I've got tracksuit bottoms on, if I haven't had these electrolytes, I can just feel my legs moving in my trousers. Or if I'm asleep at night, I can feel them twitching, and then if they're twitching like that, it normally comes with cramps. So with the electrolytes, that completely stops the cramps and reduces, in my opinion, 90-95% the twitching. So it's becoming a long video, this. I'll get onto it. I'll repeat a little bit of this again. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. So I thought I'd make a quick video that explained how to make World Health Organization, sort of on the basis of World Health Organization, electrolyte drink. So a lot of people have asked me to do this video. How do I make my electrolytes with sodium, which I get from the bicarbonate of soda, and the potassium? Now, the citrus and the honey, being the glucose, citric acid and glucose, are required to make the sodium and potassium work in your body somehow. I don't know the science behind it. I've read the research on it. I've done a video on the research papers as well that explain what happens when you mix the citric acid, the glucose, with the sodium from the bicarbonate of soda and the potassium. And the body seems to be able to absorb the sodium and potassium and convert it into minerals that the body can then use. So there is a video that explains that, and it shows the research paper as well, that well, a couple of them, but the main one that is cited and referred to by the World Health Organization. So squeeze a lemon. I like to keep it nice and natural. I am looking at products so you can get citric acid in powder format, but then you'd be losing a lot of the goodness, the vitamin C for instance, that you get from the lemon. And there's a lot of other elements in the lemon juice as well that I think are worth taking the time to buy and cut and squeeze rather than just using a powder. So I have a little 1/4 teaspoon measurer. Now I use a quarter because I do 2 of these a day, so that makes up half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of sodium. And you can see that it has an instant chemical reaction. That's what this fork is for, because it starts to bubble over the top of the glass. So this is just to break that up. I normally have some hot water ready, because there's probably about half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of honey. I don't measure it that accurately, as you can tell. There may be enough glucose in the lemon, because it's not just citric acid, which is what the World Health Organization were using. They'd be using the citric acid powder. I think there could be enough glucose in the honey to not require enough glucose. There could be enough glucose in the lemon to make the honey, so that you don't need to use the honey. I don't know, is the answer to that. Well, the more accurate answer is I don't know yet, because I'm still looking into that side of things. The reason I am as well, I mean, most of you won't care and you'll be happy to use honey or other forms of glucose, but I try and cut all carbohydrates, which is what a glucose is. It's one of the purer forms. I try and eliminate all carbohydrates from my diet. So I don't worry about having the honey, because I have hardly any carbohydrate in my diet. A little bit of honey wouldn't make much difference, but I'll probably try and cut that out. I think with the honey and the lemon, plus other little bits of carbs that are in my diet that are difficult to get rid of. I put the wrong lid on there. So these are 200 milligrams of potassium. This is a different container, but I've put the label from the potassium that I buy. 200 milligrams potassium citrate, I'm sure this is. So there's 3 tablets that I'll have with my drink. So now I'll just put a bit of water in that. And there we have it. There's your electrolyte drink. So we've got 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda mixed with 1 squeezed lemon and like half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of honey and 200 milligram potassium citrate tablets. Now, I do use quite a few other things. I also put something called boron. Boron, not borax, as my friend thought I was drinking. This is another mineral, and we're, according to the expert that I follow, very short on this in our diets. I can't tell you whether it's effective or not. This and this, hugely effective. Along with, if you're a man especially an older man, zinc and magnesium, ZMA. Zinc and magnesium, I take just 2, it says up to 5 tablets a day. I just take 2 of them at night and it helps me sleep like a baby. So these are excellent to put in your diet. If you're a guy, you're normally very low on these minerals in your system. Vitamin B, now if you don't know already, a lot of vitamins and minerals have to be what's called stacked together, which means that some of them, this one will have calcium in it as well, some of them, some minerals and vitamins only work when they're mixed with other vitamins and minerals. Like vitamin C, there's vitamin C in my potassium, and there's vitamin C in lemon as well. Maybe that's another reason, for the citric acid, to help the potassium function better. So it turns out that a lot of vitamins and minerals have to be taken together to have any effect at all. So for instance, where is it? This is one that was very popular, it became very vogue in the, especially the women's magazines, turmeric and the health magazines, and it's discovered that turmeric has this anti-inflammatory property. So it helps the body alkalize, and it helps the joints and the inner parts of the body from reducing inflammation. So that can be good with depression as well, because it seems that depression can be inflammation in the brain and the stomach. However, this only works, the body can't get any of the properties that help with the inflammation unless it's mixed with black pepper. So you have to have plenty of black pepper for the turmeric to work. So, it's not as simple as taking one thing and everything then working. I'll show a couple of other things that I take at the moment now. Some of these are more trial, but I've gone to the experts, not the doctors, people who I would say who are more open-minded. Let's put it that way. Ubiquinol, which is coenzyme Q10. That's a new one I'm trying. This is a mix of mushrooms that an expert called Paul Stammet talks about. And there's a particular one in here that I'm interested in that works alongside the ubiquinol, which are both good, especially if you're older, to help with your cognitive abilities and reduce cognitive decline. Me being 52, that's something I'm focused on, longevity. Korean ginseng, once again, for my mental function, my memory and recall. And ginkgo biloba. I hope that's how you pronounce those things, but that's how I pronounce them. So there's just a couple of the things that I'm taking at the moment. Oh, and one other, which I'm glad I remembered, because this is a new one actually, creatine. It doesn't say it there, it does say it there. See, creatine monohydrate powder. Now actually this one I'm supposed to put in my drink. It's floating on the top, so it doesn't mix well, does it? So creatine again is, although it's good for the gym, and get this right, I subscribe or I follow a website called examine.com, who seem to be a neutral, very neutral in that they're not sponsored by any organisation, any manufacturer or company, and they examine and they research vitamins, minerals, supplements, all of these things that people take, basically essentially supplements in general, to see if they're effective or not. And as far as their research goes, the only supplement for weight training and exercise that has got proven research that hasn't been sponsored by the companies that make the product. The only product that actually works is creatine monohydrate. It's the only one that helps build muscle, it helps improve your physical exercise performance, and I believe helps reduce cognitive decline. It's also beneficial there. So this is unflavoured, it's pure. Drop it into your drink, and we've got an extra boost for the grey matter, the brain, to help stop that declining any further than it needs to.